Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Outlaw Country. It's almost the first day of fall, officially. First day of fall. And you can sure feel the change in the temperature in the air in the morning. It's definitely cooling down. My favorite time of the year, for sure. I am about, I don't know, probably an hour from my truck. Heading in to check a couple of game cameras. And I got these cameras set up on a couple of really good elk trails and deer trails, so I want to check them before I head away up north. Time to go north. I'm out of here in 5 days now. Pretty wild. I'm going to try my best to get a few videos for you guys posted before I leave, because I'm gone for about 20 to 25 days. So I'd like to have a couple of videos posted for you guys while I'm gone, just so you don't miss me too much. You won't miss me. Anyways, yeah, we'll see how much time I got. I got pretty much everything loaded up, ready for my trip, ready to roll. So we'll see how much time I got before we leave, if I can get a couple more videos posted for y'all. I'll do my best. And after the last video, no, I don't have my, I know you guys are probably going to give me shit, I don't have my Defender with me. I don't have my Defender with me, but I've got my bear spray right here, right in my pocket. And I've got another device right here on my belt. And I use these devices for my hunting camp to set up perimeter triple arms for grizzlies. Because we've had grizzlies wander right into our camp, right in, like within 10 feet of our tent where we're sleeping. We've had them come in and take quarters off our game poles, and last year we had one come into camp and within 10 feet of the door of the tent, and picked up an entire moose head, carried it away, dropped it, came back, got an entire moose quarter, 160 pounds, carried it away with no drag marks, carried it in its mouth, carried it about 100 yards from the meat pole and buried it all. So I use these alarms, and that's what these are. They're a, you've probably seen these, are a personal alarm you can carry with you if you're just walking, for people, you know, if you're scared of people or whatever. And I'm not going to give you a demo here because it'll scare the shit out of everything around me, but basically all you do is you just pull this part, and it's a super loud siren, 130 or 140 decibel siren that goes off, and a strobe light that goes off if you're out at dark or whatever. So pretty handy to have in bear country, right? I pull that, and then hopefully the bear buggers off, and I got my bear spray as backup. The reason I didn't pack my Defender, just so you don't think that I'm being reckless, is because my Defender's all packed up for my trip. And I only have one Defender. So my Defender and my 300 are all packed up. And I do have a 45-70, but it's too big of a gun to carry out here. And don't think I'm being reckless, guys, or careless. I'm not. Okay, after that last video with the bear, yeah, he was close, he was aggressive, he was mean, he was pissed off or whatever, but you know, I have been doing this my entire life, all right? And I'm not being reckless, I'm not being careless. I'm doing my thing, and I know I'm going to run into bears here and there, so I just have to deal with it properly, and I did. And eventually that bear buggered off. So anyhow, I'm not being reckless, just being me. It's quiet here. This is a bit of a eerie spot, as you'll see. But it's really quiet in here right now, which is odd. Oh, just heard a bird. It's all good. Anyhow, we're gonna go for a little stroll here, and I'll get another couple of emails read out for you guys. And something else I want to share too is my good friend Chris Mackey, subscriber and member here at Outlaw Country. Chris is a Chris and his wife is an author and Chris is an artist. And I've shared with you before some of the work that Chris has done. And it's phenomenal. He's an amazing artist, and his wife is an amazing author. They write a lot of children's books. And anyways, Chris sent me he's sent me a few hand-drawn drawings, especially just for me. And it really means a lot. I really appreciate that. Somebody that would take the time out of their busy life to draw something for me. I cherish that. I think that's pretty cool. So Chris sent me another drawing. Him and his wife travel around a lot, going to book shows and whatnot. So he sent me this. He mailed me. Boy, oh boy, I got to get my mouth fixed here. He mailed me a beautiful hand-drawn pencil drawing, and it's titled "The Big Man." And I'm going to show you a quick picture of that right now. Pretty cool drawing, right? And along with that, Chris wrote a little poem, which I think is really cool. As you all know, I'm a songwriter and an artist, musician. I don't call myself a musician. I play guitar and banjo, but whatever. Yeah, so I love music, right? I write a lot of music, and poetry is very similar to music, right? To writing a song. So Chris wrote me this. He wrote this cool poem, and I'm going to see if I can find it here for you guys right now, because if I don't, I'm back and I got my eyeballs on so I can see. Anyways, this is short, you guys, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty special. So I'm going to read this to you. The title of this is "The Watcher" by C.K. Mackey. Through ancient cedars where shadows grow, a hiker treads where few dare go. Unaware of eyes that gleam behind the mist, beyond the stream. Massive feet on mossy ground make not a whisper, not a sound, as something vast and wild and old follows stories left untold. The hiker pauses, feels a chill, turns to scan the darkened hill, but finds only swaying trees and secrets carried on the breeze. For in these woods, where time stands still, the watcher waits with ancient will, a guardian of forgotten ways, who vanishes before the gaze. The hiker moves, the shadow too, through wilderness both strange and true, where legends breathe in morning fog, and mystery walks without dialogue. Awesome, Chris. That's great, man. So Chris emailed me that and the drawing that I showed you, and he said that that was for you, and I really appreciate that. As I say, anybody that takes time out of their busy day to do something for me, that's fantastic. That's great. Appreciate you, Chris. All the best to you, brother. Anyhow, I'm gonna rock and roll here, and we will put on another few miles here, and then find a spot, sit down, take a break, get some more emails read to you good people. Let's roll. Interesting. This is a pretty good game trail here. Right here that I've got a camera up on, so we will go check this camera out. See what I mean? It's a bit of a wee bit of a spooky spot, isn't it? Just got a feel to it, you know. Saw a little squirrel ripping back and forth between a couple of trees. He's obviously packing up some food for winter. He was running right into here, into that log. They'll be busy now. They know winter's coming. Okay. So a couple of years ago, I camped out here on this creek bed here for about a week. Right here. Right here, I was camped out. It's a great little spot. Wild. Not a drop of water in the river, or in the creek. Not to worry, it's coming. It's coming. So a ton of you people responded to me, comments and emails about the whole incident up at my lake, where my batteries all got drained. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting comments. Everybody's, for the most part, on the same page about that movie. I had one gentleman ask me if this was the same place that in the summertime that I saw the military presence. And yes, it is the same place, but I don't necessarily know if that had anything to do with it. Who knows, right? It's all speculation. All I know is there's a little bit of water in the creek. Cool. All I know is something drained the batteries on 3 fully charged trail cams. My DJI camera, my Pocket 3 camera that I always use, which has a built-in battery and an external handle battery, dead. And the other thing I forgot to mention is my cell phone was dead. My cell phone was dead. Peculiar. All right, let's take a break here, people. I sure get into some spooky places, don't I? Oh well. Got my bear spray right here, ready to go. And I got my alarm right here, ready to pull. I mean, chances are it was probably just a bear. And I haven't heard nothing since, but what do? You keep on keeping on. You know, the thing is, you can't be terrified and come out and do what I do. You can't be. You're in Mother Nature, man. And Mother Nature's in charge when you're out here. You little bugger. Scared the shit out of me. It's just a squirrel. But as you all know, cougars go in trees very often. So when you're sitting down, you hear something above you, your mind tends to wander, play tricks on you. Anyhow, just a little squirrel. Maybe that's what I heard. Who knows, right? Who knows? Let's get into an email here. Got sap all over my hand. God, I hate that. You just chill it up. Chill out up there, little buddy. Where are we? Here we go. I was fortunate enough to be able to talk with a couple of people that emailed in recently, and if I have time, I'll share some of those with you guys as well. Some of that. But first, let's get this email read. Good morning, Darren. I hope my email finds you in good health. My name is Al White, and I live in a small settlement a couple hours north of Terrace, BC. I was born and raised on a reserve in northern BC until I was 17 years old and moved to Terrace, where I spent most of my life working as a commercial fisherman and other odd jobs around the area. I've been living out here for 20 years now and absolutely love the silence and solitude of this tiny settlement I'm in now. I'm 65 years old and have been somewhat retired for almost 10 years. I spend a great deal of time in the woods hunting and trapping ever since I had to give up fishing. I'm a local Casca member. My parents moved to BC from the Yukon just before I was born. In our culture, we don't speak of the Ngani, or Sasquatch as many call them. We have always been told that if you speak of them, they will find you and harass you. So we do not do it, no matter what. But at my age now, and after hearing many other stories from First Nations people, I figured it's time I share. My first encounter with these people was when I was about 10 years old. I was out with my father trapping, and as he ran the real trap line, I was busy trapping hares for food and marten bait. I was only a few hundred yards away from my father, checking my snares, when I saw these huge footprints in the snow. They were like a man's barefoot track, but they were enormous. I followed the tracks out of curiosity, because that's the kind of kid I was. The tracks were in the snow on the side of my little trail, where I'd set my snares. They stopped at one of my snare sets and never went any further. I looked all around but never saw these huge footprint tracks go anywhere, which even at 10 years old I couldn't understand. Where was it? I already knew about the Ngani, as I'd heard rumors and stories around the reserve, so I knew exactly what I was following. Thinking back, maybe that's what intrigued me so much. Many of us young kids in the reserve were keen to see a Ngani, and some of us actually looked for them. I wasn't one of them. I couldn't make sense of where this one went. My father started teaching me young about how to track animals and read the morning paper, in quotation, as he called it, in the morning snow. My father and I met back up where my little side trail connected with the main trail, and I told him that I had seen fresh Negaunee tracks beside my trail. Sorry guys. I'm going to move on here. I'm going to move on a little bit and get out of this area. I don't, like, something has really got me on edge right now. I could have swore I heard something. I don't know what. I apologize. But if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's listen to this. It's listen to your gut, and my gut's telling me, don't stick around here. Yep, I'm out of here. I'm sorry about that, guys, but everything was okay. I mean, I heard a noise, whatever, I don't know what it was, but I did hear a noise. And then nothing for a long time. Then I went a little further and sat down. And then I saw the squirrel and I was like, okay, everything's fine. And then I thought I heard another noise. And I got a real unsettling feeling. Pit of my stomach. A real unsettling noise in the pit of my stomach. And that was my cue. That was my cue to get the hell out of there. So I listened. Find another spot here. Alright guys, sorry about that. Listening to my gut has kept me alive for 55 years. I ain't gonna stop now, so when my gut said get the hell out of there, I got the hell out of there. It didn't sit well with me. Felt like there was something there for sure. Okay, I'm gonna redo this email because I butchered the shit out of it. I felt like I was talking with a mouthful of marbles. So hopefully I do better this time, eh? Good morning, Darren. I hope my email finds you in good health. My name's Al White, and I live in a small settlement a couple hours north of Terrace, BC. I was born and raised on a reserve in northern BC until I was 17 years old, when I moved to Terrace, where I spent most of my life as a commercial fisherman, as well as other small jobs in the area. I've been living out here now for 20 years and absolutely love the silence and solitude of this tiny settlement. I'm 65 now and have been somewhat retired for almost 10 years. I spend a great deal of time in the woods hunting and trapping ever since I had to give up fishing. I'm a Casca member. My parents moved to BC from the Yukon just before I was born. In our culture, we don't speak of the Negaunee, or Sasquatch, as many call them. We've always been told that if you speak of them, they will find you and harass you. But I figured after hearing so many different encounters now from First Nations members, it was time that I share my experiences. My first encounter with these people was when I was about 10 years old. I was out with my father trapping, and as he ran the real trap line, I was busy trapping hares for food and bait for marten. I was only a few hundred yards away from my father checking the snares when I saw these huge footprints in the snow. They were like a man's barefoot track, but they were enormous. I followed the tracks out of curiosity, because that's the kind of kid I was. These tracks were in the snow on the side of my little trail where I'd set my snares. They stopped at one of my snare sets and never went any further. I looked all around, but never saw these huge footprint tracks go anywhere, which even at 10, I couldn't understand. I already knew about the Negaunee, as I'd heard rumors and stories around the reserve growing up. So I knew exactly what I was following. Thinking back, maybe that's what intrigued me so much. Many of us young kids in the reserve were keen to see a Negaunee, and some kids actually went looking for them, but not me. I couldn't make sense of where this one went. My father started teaching me young about how to track animals and read the morning paper, in quotations. As he called it, in the morning snow. My father and I met back up where my little side trail connected with the main trail, and I told him that I saw fresh Negaunee tracks beside my trail. He stared at me with a puzzled look on his face. The only time my father ever spoke of the Negaunee was when 2 boys from our reserve went missing one time, and an elder said that they were taken by the Negaunee. My father warned us kids not to leave the village or go near the woods. It turned out that the boys had been in the woods drinking and returned the next morning. Anyhow, my father wanted to see the tracks, so we went back down the trail and I showed him. He stood there staring at the tracks where they simply ended. He stared at them for a few minutes and then looked around, just as I did, to see where they may have gone. My father then grabbed my hand and said, He is here watching us right now. He said we must leave. We hightailed it for the main trail. Father grabbed the sled and we headed for home. Well, did I ever have questions from my father? I asked him, "Did you see the Ngani?" Why didn't I hear him? What are they? What are they and where do they live? So many questions, but my father had no answers. When we got home, he explained a little bit to me. He said that the Ngani can disappear and blend into their surroundings so nobody can see them. He also said that they can speak into a person's mind without actually saying a word, and that some of them are very, very dangerous. He told me that if I ever see a Ngani, never look into their eyes and leave the area right away. I was so intrigued by what he was telling me. I couldn't believe that we were that close to one of these Ngani forest people. A couple days later, we went back to the trap line to check traps. My father didn't want me to go, but I persisted, so he let me. We checked his line first, because he wouldn't let me go on mine alone. Because he wouldn't let me go on mine alone. When we got to the end, we turned onto my little hairline trail and started checking snares. About halfway down my trail, we see two huge footprints crossing the trail. My father put his hand on my shoulder and said, "That's far enough." He was looking all around and so was I. All of a sudden, I see this Ngani in the trees about 40 feet from us, standing between two trees looking right at us. I whispered to my father, "There he is," and pointed to the being. My father was looking, but didn't see it right away, so I whispered again, "He's right there between the trees." We stood there for a couple minutes looking. And I saw it the entire time. I could see its eyes blinking, and all of a sudden I heard a loud click sound 3 times in a row. My father heard it too. My father said, "Let's go, it's time to leave here," and he grabbed my hand. Just as we turned, the Ngani took off running away from us, and my father did see it. I later found out that was the first time he had actually ever seen one of them. He had seen tracks before and heard voices many times, but he had never actually seen one until that day. Father made me promise to not talk about this to anyone, as it could bring our family harm. 4 years went by before I saw another, and it was a very brief sighting. I was with my father and uncle moose hunting on the lake, and we all saw one squatted down on the lake shore one morning. My uncle thought it was a moose, but when he looked in his binoculars, he saw that it was an Ngani. We were a long ways away from it, but as soon as Uncle rose his binoculars, the Ngani stood up, looked at us in the boat, and then vanished in a flash. My next meeting with them was when I was in my early 20s. I was working part-time as a packer for a hunting guide. Me and the guide were packing a caribou off a mountaintop and saw what we thought was a grizzly bear on the side of the mountain across from us. The guide looked, and so did I, and at the same time we said, "Holy shit." I said, "It's a Nagani," and he said, "Sasquatch." That was the first time I'd heard that name, Sasquatch. We watched this creature for a minute or two as it was sitting beside a large boulder. And then it stood up and slowly walked up the steep rock mountain to the top and gone. The guide was blown away. He kept saying, "Can you effing believe that? Can you effing believe that?" He obviously had never seen one before. It wasn't until later that night that I told him all of my stories about the Nagani. I have had probably 12 or more sightings of them over my lifetime so far, Darren. And they've all been non-threatening, except for one. It was probably almost 20 years ago, and I was trapping beaver about an hour from my home, and it was just starting to get dark. I had 4 beaver in my sled and had just reset my last trap when I heard the knocking sound off to my right. 4 or 5 distinct loud knocks. Something was hitting a tree. It was very loud, pretty close to me as well. The first knocks were followed by another one to my left about 60 yards apart. The pond was at my back, so I couldn't back up. I was right on the edge of the pond. Shortly after the second set of knocks, I heard a third one directly in front of me, but a little further away. These things sounded aggressive and mad. Right away, I felt very nervous. All of a sudden, fear snuck into my mind. I was absolutely terrified, more scared than I have ever been in my entire life. The sense of fear took over my entire body. I was trapped. There was nowhere for me to go. The knocking stopped, but right away I heard some sounds like talking or grunting, and it was coming from all 3 locations at different times. I did have a rifle with me, but I've always believed a weapon is useless with the Nagani, so I didn't even bother taking it off my shoulder. Not that I had the ability to. I was frozen stiff. The sounds were getting closer to me, and then eventually I caught a glimpse of one of them in the trees. It was just a dark figure moving in the trees, but I knew what it was. Then a flash off to my right, and I see another one moving through the trees. I've always been very comfortable in the woods, Darren, but not this time. I was terrified, scared for my life. The grunting talking stopped, and it went dead quiet. And then I heard the voice in my head, "Leave the beaver and go now." Then a pause, and again, "Go now," in a deep voice. I did as I was told. I left the beaver and somehow was able to start walking straight ahead, knowing I had a Nagani on my left and another on my right, and a third somewhere right in front of me. As I walked, I was looking around but not turning my head, just turning my eyes. And I see this huge being on my right, about 20 feet away. It's standing there watching me, not moving a muscle. My eyes go left, and there's another one doing exactly the same thing. I could barely take a breath. I was so scared. I could feel my heart pounding through my chest. I thought for sure they were going to attack me. As these two go out of my sight, I start to pick up the pace, and right in front of me, maybe 8 feet to the right, is an 8 to 9 foot tall being standing in front of a tree. My feet kept moving, but my body just took over. I didn't feel like I was in my own body anymore. I walked right past this big guy. I remember this awful smell, stench, and I could hear his deep breathing. As I walked past, my eyes turned to the right, and I made the mistake my father warned me about my entire life. I looked in this Nagani's huge black eyes. My feet didn't stop, and eventually I felt like I was me again in my body, and I started running to my truck. That night changed my life, because when I looked in that Nagani's eyes, the voice in my head told me, keep walking. If you stop, we will kill you. I did eventually tell my father about the encounter, and he simply said, I told you many years ago, don't look in their eyes. There has been several other incidents where I've run into these people, Darren, but I don't want to take up too much of your valuable time. I've watched all your videos, and I know that you have these forest people, as you call them, around you very often. We believe that once they know you can be trusted, they tend to allow themselves to be seen to you. I know you're probably aware of this, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you feel threatened or have the feeling that you're not welcome in an area, leave immediately. We believe that if they give you a sign, you better pay attention to it. You had a video where you said they spoke to you in your mind. That's exactly what happened to me several times. It is real. I think that's how they communicate with us, so that we will listen to them. It is terrifying, but you know, if they wanted to harm you, they'd kill you instantly. The powers these people possess are incredible. We've likely only seen bits and pieces of what they are actually capable of. Please always watch your back out there, Darren, and more importantly, listen to your gut. It's kept you alive this far. I could ramble on for hours, but I better get going. Feel free to call me sometime if you want to chat. I'd love that. Many thanks for having Outlaw Country, and thanks for being a good person. Your friend in the north, I'll wait. Wow. That was literally the hardest email that I've ever had to read in my life. Like, how frickin' ironic what Al says, and it literally just happened. I did have a gut feeling to get the hell out of that spot that I was in, and I did that. And then I'm a mile and a half or so from where I was, came down onto the creek here, and I still feel uneasy. Well, no wonder I feel uneasy after reading that nightmare of an email. Al, holy shit. That is wild. That is wild, man. 10 years old. Mind you, I know I've talked to several First Nations people all over North America, and they are brought up knowing about this, so maybe it's not quite as terrifying for you. I don't know. I will ask you. Like, because you're brought up sort of knowing about these creatures, it sounded like at 10, it sounded like you weren't too scared. You actually like followed the tracks and was, like looking for this thing or whatever. But most 10-year-olds would probably absolutely shit their pants. I'm 55 and I'm almost shitting my pants. Dude, that was something else. Talk about a lifetime of experiences. Holy cow. Being cornered and trapped like you were, and then them talking to you, or you hearing the voice. What is that all about? I think you're right. They wanted you dead, they just kill you. So they didn't want you dead. They wanted your beaver, and they wanted you the hell out of there. And mission accomplished, right? Unreal. Boy, would I love to sit down and have a coffee with you, Al. You're really not all that far away from me. You're 15 hours from where I live. Maybe one day we can actually make that happen. Wouldn't that be cool? And if not, we'll definitely love to get together on a video call with you. Holy. Like I'm still trying to process this because it's wild. I get myself worked up, I know it. I know I do. I can't help it sometimes, especially when I feel uneasy and then I got to read a damn email, and if it's a real freaky one, like that one was, didn't like that. Appreciate it all. Thank you so much, man. Bless you for sending that into us. And yeah, there's a lot more First Nations people actually stepping up, and I think a lot of that, I don't know, my thoughts are that a lot of that is because of Fred Roll. Fred Roll has decided that, you know, for public safety and for people, just for the general public, people need to know. And maybe that's what's sparking more First Nations people to actually stand up and say something. So good for you. I'll appreciate it. Now I hear some squirrels and I feel better. Wild. That sense of fear thing is you can't understand it. You can't understand that sense of fear unless you've actually been there. That sense of fear that you're a goner, that you're done. I had that happen, as I explained to you guys. I had that happen with twice now with grizzly bears, and the one time in particular was I thought I was dead. I saw my life flash before my eyes, literally. If you've ever been in a near-death experience or near-death encounter, your life does actually flash before your eyes. It's crazy. I went back and like in a matter of 2.5 minutes, I went back over 45 years or whatever, 48 years of my life, and had visions of my kids being born and raised and coaching them hockey and soccer and all this baseball and stuff. I had all these visions. So yeah, that was scary. Very, very scary. But, you know, the other time that I had one of these beings, I never saw it, but I know what it was. Scream at me from up the valley. That was it, man. That was the moment that you just go, you are so insignificant. You are so defenseless. And it's a horrible feeling. Jeez. I'm not reading anymore. I'm moving on here. I might, I've got about, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes up over this ridge to my other trail camera. Gonna maybe go check it. I should have pulled that other camera down because I don't want to come back here now. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. If they wanted me dead, they would have killed me, right? If they wanted me dead, they would have killed me. Keep bear spray nice and handy. Tell you that for free. You know what? I'm going to show you guys. This alarm. This is pretty. I think this is pretty cool. I haven't used these for this purpose before, but I think they're pretty cool. So if you're out and whatever, you got a person that's trying to attack you or stalking you or whatever it is, or an animal or whatever, all you do is just pull this thing. Pretty loud, eh? Gonna scare a bear away, cougar away. Might not scare a Nagani away, but... Alright, that's enough for me. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Gonna get out of here. And go check this last trail cam, get to the truck, head home. It's enough for today. So I hope everybody's good. Hope you're safe. Hope you've got your health, because if you don't have your health, you don't have much. Hope you've got your health, and I hope you're able to spend a few minutes a day or a week or whatever getting out and doing whatever it is that you love to do. Whatever that is. That might be hiking like I hike, bike riding, knitting, whatever it is. Get out and do what you love to do. Life's too short, right? Life's too short to be gone like that. and be a good person. None of it matters if you're a douchebag. Okay? If you're a douchebag, you are, when you die, you're remembered as a douchebag. Be a good person. See ya.